Hello and welcome everyone. This is our first live demo that we're doing around the air-gapped work. Today is March 20th. And with that, we're going to do static analysis first. Thomas, please take it away.
Alrighty, happy Friday. So we'll go ahead. So so this is for SAST and air-gapped environment. I'm going to be sharing my screen the entire time. You get my entire desktop. Apologies if font sizes are too small. What I'm also going to go ahead and call out, just because I know we've got a combination of folks here, and I know we've got engineers here as well that are eager to help out and speak out. If I need support or if I need something for an engineer to speak up, I will prompt. So please don't jump in unless I prompt you to do so, otherwise I'll interrupt train of thought. So I just want to call that out right at the front. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and share what we have and move it right outside. All right, starting off with documentation that has already been published. This is up on docs.gitlab.com, as you can see, about how we can do requirements, how we can run SAST in an offline environment. The one thing that I'm going to call out is that as we were running through all of this stuff and putting this documentation through its paces earlier this week, is that we realized that we want to change this note. And so there's an MR up that's already ready, that is MR up that's already under review, and that I need to go polish. I'm looking to do that later today. That will change the way this note reads. So that we are making an argument that the pull policy, Docker pull policy on the GitLab runner is set to always. And so they'll see an MR for that coming up later, or excuse me, an MR that is going to continue to be pushed through later today for that. With that being said, we need to start with environment. So where we've been working is within a GCP project, group secure, and we've created a couple of instances that are of note here, all of which are conveniently named air-gapped. And so we'll do that. And we have two here. One is air-gapped bastion and one is air-gapped test. The reason for doing this is that we have a self-managed installation of GitLab running on the air-gapped test instance. And we have this bastion server effectively working as a diode. And the reason that we were wanting to do that is we wanted to make sure that we could demonstrate a way in which, an example way in which customers can download the secure analyzer Docker images from the registry.gitlab.com and demonstrate a way in which this could load the Docker instances, the GitLab instances Docker container registry as well. And so the way that we are enforcing air-gapped, and this is this is very much a limited access to the public internet, is through a VPC firewall rule. If you'll give me a moment, I will copy that and bring it over. There's two in question. One is disallow egress air-gap, and the other is disallow ingress air-gap. The way this is configured is that we are not allowing any traffic outbound to the public internet from anything with this air-gapped host, the air-gapped test, and we're only allowing traffic to the air-gapped host on ports 443 and 22. So this is SSH and also HTTPS. Those are the two ports that are open. Everything else is shut down or shut off and is being enforced by these particular rules. As a way of demonstrating this, I have already shelled into both of these hosts. And we'll go up here and we will try to ping and what is ultimately going to happen is this is going to time out with 100% traffic loss or packet loss. I'm going to go ahead and close, and for the purposes of time, I'm going to go ahead and stop it. So we can't get there. As further, we cannot get here either, which is where by default the SAST analyzer Docker images live. So with that and showing what's happening on the bastion, That's right. We don't have ping here, but we can do this. I'll show you in a little bit. That's what happens when we do it live. Any questions so far before I continue on?
Does this satisfy the scorecard column 3D? Should that prove air gap? Is the team satisfied? If yes, let's grade it.
Beck, were you asking me this question?
I'm asking the team. It's the first time we're doing it, so
okay.
Everybody can contribute.
All right.
So for me, it does, but we also need other stakeholders to weigh in. I mean, I would say it's incredibly close to being 100% shut down. What we are allowing is a very little through to the Bastion server, right? And that's it. And go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to ask, like, Thomas, do you have like Netcatter installed or anything just to show you can't get out? Because pinging is one thing that's usually blocked, but like if you did a netcat to like port 80 or 443 and we're rejected, then we know no connections can get out. And then I would be satisfied to your question, Todd.
You have the full command line for this?
You just do registry.gitlab.com and then port space 443.
That?
Yep. And then type a / space, enter. Yeah, so no connections getting out. Eventually he'll get a reject that the socket wasn't able to be open. So I think, to me, that looks closed. You cannot get an HTTPS connection out to our services.
What would it look like if you did that on the Bastion?
Not installed on the Bastion.
Just try NC and see if it allows just NC space. Hit enter, see if it actually recognizes it.
Nope. Okay,
so it's not installed there, but we could do the same thing, Kevin, to show you at a later date on maybe the next demo. But I can even give you a little script then to Thomas to run.
If you'll allow me to, if we can get past this on the Bastion aspect of this, part of this demo is going to be pulling down one of our analyzers from registry.gitlab.com and loading the air-gapped instance from that connection, from that particular instance. Can we use that as a substitute for the Bastion acting as a diode?
Yeah, I would think so.
That's fine with me.
Yeah. I was gonna say you could also do a curl, but that's okay. Keep going. Sorry.
Mike, are you satisfied with the answer to your question?
So yeah, well, again, I think this scorecard is to make sure the team is successful. It's not about me being satisfied, but I appreciate that. So I think what you want to grade this is let's capture that we need to demo it, show it on the Bastion thing next week. And I would say per our scorecard, this is probably I would say 3. Because 4 is like all the requirements are in, and 5 is like final sign off from Kevin and David. So I would rate this as a 3. There's still some small things we need to show next time. What do folks think?
Meg, just to comment on the general criteria, and remember this is a lesson we learned the hard way years ago, is we have to consider 5 like done as being like merged code, like released code. Not just like approval of a stakeholder or something like that, or we should at least consider that. It may be possible we could get the customer to purchase based off of a non-production demo or something like that, but we may want to hold ourselves to the standard of, we actually got this out there. It did not slip a release.
Yes, thank you, Eric. We do have a stop mitigation plan for that. With there's an integration demo down below on the real environment. We could bake it there, and we could update the 5 score to capture something that's like productionized ready. In the interest of crossing this item out, I think 3 is a safe spot to land, and then I'll take feedback from Eric with Todd to work on the next iteration of the grading criteria. What does the working group think?
That sounds reasonable to me.
Okay. I'll mark this as a 3 for 3I, that is set approved air gap column I for this week.
Okay. And we may be able to up that score later, but I'm not going to speak for everybody else. I'm going to be demonstrating on the Bastion here momentarily. All right, I'm going to continue on, and I'm dropping down to the shell on the Bastion itself, and what I'm doing is navigating to a series of scripts that we have created, and these are very much example scripts. We're not intending for these to be considered to be production use because we do not know we anticipate that there's going to be a broad variety of requirements as far as how these images would get loaded. But in the interest of providing examples, we have a few. So what we're going to be demonstrating is how we can load one of the SAST scanners within the air-gapped instance of within the air-gapped instance itself. And so there are three scripts that are in question. I'm going to be walking you through a couple, and then we're going to execute. So part one is this one. If you'll allow me to just shortcut the walkthrough as opposed to doing this as a full code review, we are looking at one analyzer, CubeSec, and then what this is doing is that it is doing a Docker pull from registry.gitlab.com. So this is how this is my proof that we can get out, and it is saving it locally as a tarball. And we're doing that intentionally. We want to make sure that this is a two-step process. And then when this script is done, this script will take over and we'll push it onto the air-gapped instance itself. And so that way we're making sure that this is two hops. We're not doing this in one step. We're trying to make sure that this has a deliberate two steps itself. So that's what we're about to run. This is all going to be executed through this ETL example script. So you'll see both of those two things that we just pulled up. Those are about to run themselves in sequentially. Both of those things are both done. What I can now do is back over here. So what I can do from the Bastion itself is we now have this CubeSec. We have a tarball of the CubeSec analyzer from registry.gitlab.com here. Further, you will note that it is also loaded within this instance's Docker container registry. So what we have done with this now through the Bastion, we have called out to the Docker registry, we have grabbed the CubeSec analyzer, and we have pushed it into a container registry within the air-gapped environment itself. This script doesn't quite go all the way, so there's a couple of things that I need to do real quick to make sure that we have it, because if we were to leave it right here, so this is our air-gapped instance, I am logged in, I have overridden my hosts file to make this domain work, to map to a particular IP address. And so what I'm going to do is go ahead and move over to groups. We have a series of analyzers that are available here. This is to provide a path for which we can view these particular analyzers themselves. Right now, we have a CubeSec analyzer. It is available right here. We've loaded it in. That's what this step was intended to do, and I skipped a step. I should have shown this as empty before we moved on. Alrighty, any questions on what I just did before I move on?
So it sounds like you're kind of doing stuff on the Bastion, but did you consider like just doing a repository mirror with that a Docker registry mirror, Docker Hub mirror, sorry, that you can put into the bubble, so to speak, that it can, when it's called, it goes off and collects it and then delivers it?
Considered, yes. Did not use. We were going for simplest possible thing in the way that we could iterate through these.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, and so basically the requirement that we were trying to satisfy with this was to prove that we could satisfy a two-step loading process. So if this was an environment that was so locked down that it required a download of a file onto physical medium, walk into a SCIF, and then load it in that way, this was to emulate that particular requirement, which was the most stringent that we could think of.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I was more asking just to find out if doing a registry mirror was discounted for any actual security reason rather than just convenience. Yeah.
Well, convenience, and beyond that, if we were to try to pull down all the analyzers on the Bastion, we would physically run out of disk space. We didn't make it big enough to pull every single one of them at once, and that was something we ran into this morning.
Yeah.
So yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah.
And, I may have, no, I totally agree with you. The two-step was awesome. It was exactly what I was expecting. The push, was that done? I might have missed it. Was the push done on port 22, like using, or was it?
Your copy, so yes. But
yeah,
this is, yes.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't see an issue. Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
I just missed it when it flashed by. So cool.
Yep.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thomas, does it satisfy in the scorecard cell 4D? Because I'm looking there and it's not, it doesn't say anything about QSEC in the task in the demo step. I'm wondering if we need to update the scorecard to reflect what you're showing here, since Kevin is satisfied in terms of the dependency that's downloaded. And I can share screen as well, so everyone on the call has context.
I mean, we could make it more precise, but we basically downloaded the resource and made it available.
Okay, if we can confirm that that's the thing, then we'll grade that column. So is this a 4 or 5, depending on feedback from Kevin?
I guess I just need to make sure I understand what the definition of 5 was, but I would say, yeah, 4 or 5. I don't.
5 is sign off from customer success currently, and then 4 is demoed according to the definition of done. So in this smaller setup steps, we would love to have your input on it. That's why we had 5 as your sign off. And if you want to be more comfortable with it and get more detailed, let's grade it as 4 for now, and then the next time you can have your sign up properly. That's okay as well.
Yeah, let's go with 4 just because I want to run a couple of these details past now that I'm seeing them live. It's very helpful. And I've got a call actually at the end of this one with my customer to go over some stuff and ask some additional questions. So cool, thanks.
Got it, okay. So cell 4I is now marked as 4, and then I'll say that we will need to touch on it again with your sign up the next time with customer feedback. Thank you.
Okay, I'll keep going. All right, and I jumped ahead a little bit. So there's 2 groups that have been configured on this particular instance, one for analyzers, another one for tests. And I've jumped into a project that's a JavaScript test project of ours, and that has been preloaded here. I also have this checked out on the Bastion, so that we can actually push this through an MR workflow as a part of this demo. And so get status, we're on master, and to go ahead and show this checkout GitLab CI YAML. This was done intentionally, and so this is commented out right now on master. We do not we have a CI YAML file, but we do not have sast configured on it at all. And so that is the current state of this project. And just to go ahead and show it. So everybody sees where we are and make sure that everybody's good. And what I'm going to do check out this particular branch. You'll note that this already has some commits that commit associated with it. It's ahead of master by 1. And I will walk through this, but I wanted to go ahead and show the diff so everybody had an opportunity to see what we're doing. Effectively, what we're doing is we're turning on SAST. And we are providing what should be a new vulnerability. And I will walk through and show the files in question. Particularly, I want to show the GitLab YAML file. So what this is doing is it's including the SAST vendor template. And it has a couple of overrides. We're only allowing for the ESLint analyzer to run. We have disabled Docker and Docker. You will note that this line is commented out. That is done intentionally in this current state. And the reason for doing that is that we have not satisfied one of the steps that we have documented. And I wanted to start here and push this up as to start an MR with everything in this state to show that this will fail, because it's going to try to reach out to the registry.gitlab.com domain. And then we'll add another commit to it where we're going to fix this configuration, and we'll see it succeed using the GitLab's instances container registry as the source for the SAST analyzer itself. So that's where we happen to be. Oh. Surest way to create typos is to have everybody watch you while you type.
Totally fine, Thomas. GitLab iteration.
Absolutely. I'm just
Totally
calling
fine.
myself out. That's all I'm doing. So, yeah. All right. Handy dandy little shortcut. Enabling SAST and GitLab CI. I cannot help myself. I have to write incomplete sentences, and we'll go ahead and submit this merge request. So pipeline is now running. And what we're doing here is with ESLint SAST, this is currently running, and you'll notice that it is trying to reach out to registry.gitlab.com, but it can't. And it will continue to do so and will ultimately fail. And so this is out of the box. This is why it will not work. We have seen our problem, and while we're letting this play out and ultimately not succeed.
Hey Thomas, sorry to
Sure.
Can you click on the check air gap? I just wanted to see that one. I just was curious. Is that one's your the job? Perfect.
What this is trying to do is reach out to registry.gitlab.com, and if it can't, it succeeds.
Gotcha. Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to see it. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
No problem. And so, okay. Let me head back to our merge request. All right, while that is finishing up, we're going to go ahead and enable this. So what this will do is we have now overridden SAST analyzer image prefix, so we're using this instance's container registry as opposed to trying to dial home to registry.gitlab.com. Back up. And it is done. We'll go ahead and refresh this some more. We have a new pipeline running now because we have a second commit. This time, you will notice that it's pulling the Docker image from where we are today. This instance's container registry, and the job succeeded. And further, what we will do, and we should see the check air gap that's doing its thing, where it's trying to find out if it can do, if it can get to the GitLab registry, the GitLab.com registry, and this will also succeed because it can't. Same thing. We didn't change this. So this pipeline will succeed. It will continue on while this is finishing up. So let's see what our full report is here. These are all of the vulnerabilities that are currently present. I'm going to continue on and we'll go through this. So we have our reports. We have a link straight to the project in question. Once again, this is local, so that link works. What file was this in? Once again, domain is the case. And so we can see exactly where this is. Line 15, that link worked. And we have the identifiers itself. You'll notice that this is to github.com. This will succeed because my host is not part of this air-gapped instance. If I were trying to work within a machine that was part of this limited domain, this would fail. However, this will succeed because this is the context of my machine itself. I have the ability to cancel this. I can also create an issue from it, which we have now done on the local host. I'm going to go back to the merge request itself. Let's go ahead and view the full report. And I am going to take this one and we're going to go ahead and dismiss that vulnerability. Functionality works.
Can we, two questions if I can. One is the unknown an artifact of the air gap, or is that just an artifact of this particular scanner?
It's an artifact of this particular scanner.
Okay, cool. And the second one is, I'm assuming dismiss with the comment will also work.
It will.
Not that I need you to, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I figured as much. So cool. Thanks.
And dismissed.
Kevin, do you want us to switch the scanners so it doesn't show unknown? Would you feel better with that? Because this is this particular scanner.
Yeah, let me think on that. I mean, as long as I think we explain the fact that this is that particular scanner, that it's probably fine. Because if I had the question, someone else will as well. Maybe in a future iteration, but I don't think it's, as long as we explain it, I don't think it's really a showstopper.
Yep. What I meant was like for future demos, if you want to switch it to another one, so you feel more confident signing off, then we can do that as well. Question to yeah, go ahead, Kevin. Sorry, unmute.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was just going to say, yeah. I mean, if we did have ones with where it's returning severities, because that way you know that they're coming from the local database that's included in that local image, that probably would make for a better demo if possible in the future. Just yeah.
Great, thank you. Todd, thank you for noting that down. Appreciate it. Thomas, can I switch back to the scorecard a bit? I think we did 2 of these, and before we move forward, let's make the accounting is correct. So we celebrate achievements as well. So I'm going to share my screen, and I can
let me stop sharing, and then let you take over, and then I've got more to share or more to show when you're done with this one.
Sure, thank you. So taking a step back, I want to run through this with the team. Huge thanks to Nicole, Todd, Thomas, and everyone, Seth, Olivier, as well for populating the scorecards. I'm going to take the opportunity now to just clear the score. So this is kind of testing it out, running through the execs. Kevin, you should be paying attention to the total, the ones in dot that shows the total of each week. And that's where we collating all the scores. And SAS is in blue. It maps directly to the scores here. So going forward from now on, I'll be clearing all the scores, and then we'll be tracking only the ones for this week going forward. So that is done. So making sure everybody's on the same page, and then to sign off, thumbs up, thank you for that. Now we graded this. This is what I meant by column 3i and 4i and all that. So this was showing the key sec analyzer just now, and then we need to loop back for you to sign off. We need to grade these two. So MR was created, we ran ESLint and sast. Unknown, we need to have a different scanner. And then is this a 4 because we didn't have any feedback and the MR is being run correctly and pipeline was in progress? And should this be a 3 because we need to switch the scanner?
Yeah, I'm good with those two. I'm going to confirm with the customer if we might even be able to simplify it by doing the changes in the web IDE as opposed to the command line. I'm going to ask that question. And yeah, I agree with the 3 on the pipeline and we haven't seen the dashboard results yet. That's coming up, I think.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, so I think we're only halfway through 6, if that makes sense.
Okay. Then let's revisit this when I give it back to Thomas and we have the last step. Yep. Okay. I'll stop share. Hopefully that brings everybody on the same page. Thank you.
All right. We should be back. So I'll hop right back to the merge request. I'm going to go ahead and merge this one. So that is in. And while this is continuing to run, we're going to go ahead and hop over to the security dashboard, which is here. And so just to demonstrate interacting with the vulnerabilities, once again, all of these are unknowns. So these are the same links that we had before, just to continue to work through them so that everybody can see them. I'm going to open up all 3 at the same time. So we went to the project, we went to the line in the file in question for this particular finding, and we're able to get more information about this particular item. Capabilities exist and continue to work. So general object injection sync, we'll go ahead and create an issue for that one. This continues to work. And potential timing attack, we will dismiss this vulnerability. We will do so with a comment. Add comment and dismiss. As far as report types go, okay, there's nothing from DAST in here. Here's what's available from SAST. So this is showing the work. Close that out. Unknown, that works. There's nothing that's been available high, so the filters are working as we expect. We currently have had dismissed. We'll reevaluate that. Now we can see that these items are here and that these have indeed been dismissed. Is there anything else you would like to see on the security dashboard?
Were you going to show the group dashboard one level up? I know there's only one project, but just verifying that the group dashboard as well is
You are? Yeah. Okay. Do you want me to repeat this same functionality, or would you like something else?
I think I'm okay with that. I think we've shown it a couple different times. I don't think it's probably not running through different code, but I'm assuming it's probably part of the QA. It doesn't need to necessarily be part of the demo. Yeah. But
well, notice there's nothing for this particular project. There is for JavaScript. Will work for all. So filters do work. We're currently hiding dismissed. Pop those back open.
Cool. All right, thanks.
So we've shown we have shown the environment. We have shown how we can load in scanners. We can load in scanners from registry.gitlab.com. We have shown an example project. We have worked it through a merge request workflow. We have also demonstrated project and group security dashboards. This concludes what I have prepared to demonstrate. Is there more that folks would like to see while we are here?
There's a last step, showing the firewall logs.
Which I have neglected to turn on because they are noisy. That's my fault. Though just to ask, it was noting that show if applicable and proof in the environment didn't call out during. So my question is that step still necessary?
Or would we want to modify that in future to be like, because we've got the step that runs during the pipeline, so maybe that step that runs during the pipeline could be the step for that.
Yeah, I'll admit I like the pipeline step better to kind of show that it doesn't work, and now it does work when we uncomment or follow the instructions properly. I really like that. I thought that was great.
So let's swap out the show firewall logs then for demonstrate.
Let's confirm in Nicole, can we confirm in half an hour? I'll add it to the list of items that I'm asking the customer, since rightfully we didn't want them on this one, but they might be on future ones, and I just thought I would I'll just ask them that question. So, but,
yeah, that's
but yes, probably.
Can someone please vocalize it again? What are we swapping it for?
So there was that step that ran during the pipeline that would pass if it was unable to make the successful connection. I forget the exact name of it. It was test air gap, I believe, or air gap test. Check air gap. Yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
So we're substituting in that once we confirm with the customer.
Okay, so next time we're just gonna show check air gap. Okay, here instead.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be specific. We're gonna show the pipeline not working with the instructions not being followed, and then the pipeline working when you follow the instructions for the pointing to the local registry. That was perfect.
Right. And just to hop back on a screen share. So this is the check air gap job that we've cooked up, just showing we're trying to wget out to registry.gitlab.com. We can't get to it, therefore this particular job succeeded.
Great.
Yep. Okay.
Nicole, are you okay if I keep the step for show firewall logs as one for now, and then we'll revisit next time?
Yeah, once we get the confirmation, we'll swap it out.
Cool, thank you.
Is there anything else I might demo for you today related to SAST? Let me scope my question appropriately.
Could you put the instructions back up on the screen? I just wanted to see that you had them up earlier, and I just, if not, I could.
Start right back.
That's cool. You can scroll down to the, because obviously that's the list of all the, if you wanted all those tools to work, we just did one, that's cool. And then, it's just the include, the analyzer, and the Docker. Just out of curiosity, you don't need to demo this, but I'm just curious, what happens if the Docker in Docker is not set to, if it's set to disable? What happens if, you don't need to demo it, but I'm just curious what happens when that is set to, I believe it would also fail, but at a different
step. It will fail. The reason that it will fail is because that involves code changes to our orchestrators, which are set to go GitLabs.com's container registry as opposed to being overridden. And so since we're deprecating Docker and Docker mode entirely, this is why you're seeing this demonstrated this way.
Yeah, no, I understand it, and it's totally fine. And in fact, one of my other customers is actually currently using SAST air gap. That they made the mods themselves. They noted they're still using that setting, and they're expecting that eventually that might go away. The need to do that, because I think we're moving away from Docker and Docker in general, right?
Yeah. Anything else?
I would say this is quite smooth for first live demo. So great work, team.
Yeah, well done for sure.
Hey, since Kevin's talking to the customer shortly, are there other questions that we have outstanding that I just want to make sure that like we're getting feedback as quickly as possible? I know there were some things on license compliance.
Those are all the reason for the meeting, actually, and all of the stuff from the live demo is getting tacked on. So, Olivia, don't worry, all the license compliance stuff is already on that list. But is there anything else for any of the other scanners?
Yeah, like if you had a question in the past few weeks, anybody just speak up right now, like just to make sure it's covered. Appreciate double checking.
There was a scorecard that we went over, which sort of acts as like acceptance criteria. Is it possible to get my hands on that specifically for license compliance before the next license compliance demo? Or
It should be linked. If you look at the dependency scanning demo issue right now, it's linked in there, and I need to go in and make sure the license compliance demo issue, I copy all of the correct formatting over into that, but
okay.
I haven't done that yet.
It should be there, yeah. And we need to work through that scorecard because license compliance obviously doesn't have the same steps as the security scanners because it's not reporting vulnerabilities, but licenses. And we need to figure out how much of license compliance feature we want to demo to.
Thank you.
And license compliance is the next one on the schedule. It's slated for Wednesday.
I can demo what we have so far.
The objective is to fail. This one went, what I heard was this one went really smoothly, so we waited too long. That's the feedback, right? Right.
Well, we did finish SAST, DAST, and container scanning previously, so they've been done for a while, so I'm not shocked. It's the two that are in progress that I expect to go not as smoothly.
I guess what I'm saying is this is GitLab. We encourage failure, like demoing sooner, failing sooner brings up, like we brought up a whole bunch of issues. If we would have waited another week and those issues that got resolved magically, that's great, but that may not have happened. So like we even picked up some things in this demo. So that's kind of the whole point I'm trying to make.
There's some quote that's in the handbook, and I'll probably misquote it, but it's like, yeah, if we don't have some low level of shame, we probably waited too long, as Christopher highlighted. But like, this was great. I learned a lot. I think Kevin learned a lot and gave some good input. So this was well worth it. And thanks to the team.
Just one additional thing, Chase. If we get to a 5 on a certain area, is it okay if we tighten up the demos? Because like that'll just help with time. Because like I'm just thinking in terms of like Thomas walking through this whole thing today for 45 minutes is awesome, but like as we get things solved, it feels like we should just tighten up and cover the areas that need to. If you're okay with that.
Yeah, I think I would treat them like in video terms almost as like keyframe demos for like every once in a while you want to do the full one, but it's totally acceptable to skip it if we're really confident. The reason you do keyframe demos is because like we're still prepping for that big dog and pony show we have to do for the customer. So we don't want to like miss a regression or something like that, but we can definitely economize. Like if we can over time get this down to 30 minutes, that's a great goal.
I have a question for that. It may sound controversial, but if we were to tighten it up, what can we have run automatically, like a unit test, to make sure that we don't regress from a 5? And if we're going to do something like that, should we factor it in the scorecard? Say if it's 5, like make sure the tests for these are added in and running and passing, and we just skip over it to make sure it's stable.
Automation makes sense, or if it's manual checking that's async, so it's like done outside the demo. So somebody's running through it if you don't have automation in place. The key aspect here I'm thinking about is just everybody's time that is on this call.
Yep,
agreed to help.
I can chime in on that. We probably will be able to leverage something that we will use in Defend called file code. It's something to monitor container activities. We plan to use that to make sure that don't network during the use of SAST or that or anything. We started to experiment with that. I'm working with the security team because there are some kernel extensions that we need to compile and install. So in the end, that means probably some different runners. So we try to avoid that and make sure that we would be able in the future to use the regular runners if possible. If not, we might need to have some specific runners with these extensions installed. Makes sense?
Yes, let's take it offline. I think we need to augment the scorecard somehow and make sure that we do that going forward.
Yeah, and for me, just getting back towards the economy aspect of this, perhaps there are artifacts that we could capture, say we're skipping it, but here are the artifacts to prove that it worked or something along those lines.
Yeah, and then as we get closer, we can always do an end-to-end demo. I'm just more thinking, you know, we've got probably 4 or 5 weeks here. I think we got 4 or 5 weeks, at least 4, you know, and I just want to make sure that we use the time efficiently. Thanks everybody for the hard work as well.
And unless we have a customer in the call, would that make sense to skip everything regarding the air gap environment explanation and setup, because this will be really redundant between all the demo we're doing for the same tool and between the different tools?
Well, once we get to a 5, I don't know if we quite got to a 5 today.
Okay.
But yes, yeah, that's the idea, is get to a 5, that part can get closed out.
So, sorry, I had one other question. So why is license going next when, is there another one that should be going between SAST and license? Because I thought license was going to be the last one that was going to be ready to be demoed. I'm just, maybe I'm missing something.
Right, what we wanted to do is show the progression. So right now we know license compliance is not going to work, but we want to show where we're at with it.
But I have it working.
Sorry, Mo.
I was so ready for today. It's not pretty, but it.
So the soonest I could get it on a calendar was actually next Wednesday. But if you want, maybe I can reschedule it. Maybe we can find a time and bring it in a little sooner.
No, it's fine. Wednesday's fine. I was just thinking out loud. I guess you've already done videos for some of the other ones. Is that right? Like that.
I believe
That's
we're
right.
doing a live demo for all of them, but there are some videos available in the interim that everyone can watch on the others while they're waiting for the live.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen some of those. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Just trying to understand the process and some new things.
I don't want to drag this call on, but if you do want like the 5-minute demo of license compliance, I can do that now or later. Oh, I see one thumbs up, one thumb. No, that's not a thumb. Okay, I'm doing it.
Before you jump in, I'm playing scorecard bingo for a minute. 3I on environment. Is there more that needs to be seen? Have we satisfied the comment that is in 3J around the environment?
I thought we need to do it again with the Bastion scope factored in.
Yeah, I think the outstanding was to install Netcat on the Bastion to be able to do that.
Understood. My question was demonstrating that this worked as a diode where we were pulling things down from registry.gitlab.com, storing them locally, and then posting them within the environment. Was that a suitable replacement?
And like I said, I added it to the agenda for my call in 10 minutes.
Okay.
Just to confirm, I'm going to explain exactly what we did, and I want to get the thumbs up for them because they live and breathe this every day. So that was my only hesitation there. So I thought it was good.
Okay. And as far as scanners go, do you need to see a full run of SAST again with a different scanner that gives severity other than unknown, or do we just need to see the results on the dashboards once we get that working soon within this environment?
I mean, I honestly think the demo is a ton better with like different severities, so it would show up on the dashboards, like across the entire thing. It would look better.
Okay.
If it's as simple as just choosing a different image to download, or you'd have to prep another project with other code?
It's another analyzer and making sure we got a test project that's going to exercise different severities.
All right. Yeah. I do think, I'm not for unnecessary work, but I do think it would show a ton better to have the colors and the stuff showing, to be honest.
No problem. Not a problem at all.
Okay, I'll make this quick. Okay, so license scanning in an air gap environment. Thomas has already gone over.
Mo, real quick, if you're trying to show your screen, it's a black screen for me.
Yeah, it's not biggie there.
I also can't see it.
I don't know if you want to stop the recording for the sast part and then restart it so we have a separate video for that.
That's a good point. We'll do that real quick. Give me a second.